very good morning to everyone. Thank you very much, Amity, where at least in this seminar I am repeating after your In-Bush festival last year I was here. The mood of conference has already been set by our previous speaker, my friend, Mr. Ketan. He has almost covered everything, so nothing much left to be covered on a specific point. But keeping in view today's interesting topic of opportunities for emerging economies, I've prepared some structured speech so that you can take some points for your use in your studies. Ladies and gentlemen and my dear young friends, I'm honored today invited here in the second International Business Summit organized by Amity University. Your Dr. Gurinder, I'm quite impressed with his acumenship in the education and the kind of university Amity has created. I'm highly impressed. That's why I'm coming here again and again. While the global financial crisis is now 9 years in the rear view of mirror, we still find ourselves on a bumpy ride, trying to navigate a troubling infection, namely a world economy marked by subdued growth, bouts, sharp financial market volatility, and growing discontent over globalization and inequality. Therefore, it is a challenging, to say the least, to talk about the opportunities for emerging markets, given the current global economic conditions. As a grouping, while we share similarities, we have to acknowledge that some are struggling to maintain macroeconomic stability and some are doing all right, and while some are doing well. Globalization has fueled growth in advanced and developing economies, but is now at the center of polarizing debate. While many of the world's major economies are today turning inward, the future of globalization depends on whether these emerging markets like China, India, Brazil can lead to more inclusive path. Globalization is, however, not the sole cause of growing inequality in advanced economies. The transition to digital economy disproportionately rewards workers with higher skills and automate routine tasks, which has become a driving factor. So on one end, we can see that we have not implemented the industrial 2G phenomena properly in our country, and at the same time, we are talking about Industry 4.0, where total automation and interactive machines we are talking. So nations around the world will eventually have to rely on their own domestic policies. As our previous speaker has mentioned, the attractive policies adopted by our government, the toolboxes to grapple with inequality and economic growth. However, there is work to be done at the international level as well. The most effective response to shared challenges such as climate change, volatility, tourism, cybersecurity, public health are built on global cooperation. The world also needs to put fundamental framework in place. In order to secure the healthy growth of digital economy, China is pushing the international cooperation on issues such as data standards, data sharing, cybersecurity, and artificial intelligence, given the immense of its own potential data sets. Sharing more of China's own information with the world could also contribute to global growth. The progress of social productivity and technology means the trend of globalization, which is irreversible. However, due to the difference in national resources and policy orientations, globalization has created some negative outcomes. Therefore, the old system of globalization, which has been dominated by developed Western countries, cannot meet the current demand. Therefore, an upgrade in global governance, which is a need for the transformation of globalization as well as new round of globalization, is imminent. This year, the Chinese president speech in Davos during January 2017 has attracted global attention. To an extent, his main ideas chart the path of new globalization, develop a dynamic, innovation-driven growth model, pursue a well-coordinated and interconnected approach to develop a model of open, mutually beneficial, cooperational, develop a balanced, equitable, and inclusive development model of growth. Global governance should reasonably reflect the demands of all parties in terms of rules and concepts. And the major power provide global public goods, all countries are bound to share the fruits and benefits fairly. We should vigorously promote innovation-driven development, and innovation is the primary driving force for global growth. The only startup point our previous speaker left for me. So the Hangzhou, which is the city of startup of the world now after Silicon Valley, and that's a famous city for Alibaba.com also. There was a summit of G20 in that city, and they have adopted the blueprint on innovative growth and formulated a specific action plan, which is crucial for reinvigorating global growth. In line with the consensus of G20 summit, we should stimulate, drive growth through innovation and reform to build an innovative world economy. By involvement of mine working with the PhD chamber, we are targeting on where I am heading the startup cell. We are targeting for one very ambitious project, that is 1 million plus startups and 100 plus unicorns by 2022, along with the mission of our Prime Minister. It is important to promote innovation in macroeconomic policies, introduce an effective package of physical, monetary, and structural reforms, policies, and address both symptoms and root causes with a multi-pronged strategy. We should be determined to push for the adjustment of economic structure and shift in growth model. In order to create more space and momentum for growth, it is important to seize the opportunities brought by new round of scientific, technological, and industrial revolution, where employment can be increased with the new technologies and develop new economy, cultivate new driving forces, and foster new industries, new models, and new businesses to unleash social creativity and market dynamism. During the recently concluded BRICS, just this month, our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji has suggested 10 models for commitment to achieve the global transformation. I will read those 10 commitments. We need to be safer, we need to be greener, we need to be enabled, inclusive, digital, skilled, healthier, equitable, connected, and harmonious world. The way forward, in my way, for improving the emerging market relations, the acceleration of implementation of trade facilitation initiatives by all developing countries, reducing regulatory barriers and procedures to trade. India is very well famous for making obstacles in the imports with the maximum number of import barriers in terms of anti-dumping duties. Now we are #1 while putting these barriers. Further integration of financial services and capital market and liberalization of services sector. Enhancing the participation of micro, small, and medium enterprises, where our previous speaker has mentioned also the thrust of this area. The Prime Minister Modi and our Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe lay foundation stone of India's first high-speed rail project, bringing India into top 15 countries having bullet train. This is one of the biggest example of encashing the opportunities in emerging economies by Japan, which is a developed country, and emerging economy is India. So you can see how smartly, the developed countries have started already encashing these opportunities in developing economies. Other possibilities in developing economies are very well known, like innovative cities, small export processing zones, economic cities, logistic development in terms of freight zones, or similar. There are many development of infrastructure in terms of expressway, low-cost housing, electronic city, or developing new freight corridor, which India has already started working aggressively. So these are possibilities in emerging economies, and it certainly develops where we need to remind the 10 commitments which has been given by our Prime Minister, how to work together for the developing economies. So we should work together to push forward economic globalization and create a better future. Thank you very much for your attention. And any kind of question and answer during here or after program are welcome. Thank you.